So if you was in caught the last one, let me catch you. Now we finna, we did supreme mathematics, but now let's understand how these energies work in these supreme mathematics, right? Because 0 is inherently the chaos point. It's the container. 0 is a container, is what it is. That's why it technically don't exist. Because it's a container that is waiting for birth. That's why the female gives birth in her south gate. That's why it is inherently feminine. That's why the feminine comes first, because it's the one that's within the container that gives birth in her south gate. But it can only give birth at will. It gives birth to will. The literal will. She gives birth to will. Whatever that will is, she's what gives birth to it. So she gives birth in her south gate. That's the one. The first plane. The first plane of existence. This is awareness. The first. But it's infinite. So the only way for it to understand anything outside of what it already inherently was, which was infinite, it had to separate from itself. So essentially it forgot itself to then turn around and then look back at itself. That was your 2. But the moment it does that, it makes a schism. Because this was infinite looking at infinite, and when it did, it formed 3, which was the matter. That's why 3 was the supreme. 2 was the separation, and it gives birth. They culminate to make. The feminine gives birth to the masculine, which they create the seed. The seed of life. That's 3. The seed of life. The first container. Now the creation, which is the second container that holds the spirit. The spirit, which is the anima that gives animation to the matter. This animation that gives it life is 4. It surrounds it. But this animum itself goes through a transformation too. Because it goes 5. 5 takes you to 10, so it's the first gate into higher dimensions. It's the first gate because 5 plus 5 is 10. So it's the lesser gate into the higher realms. Before you get to 100, you first get 10. That's what 5 times itself. 5 times 3, 15. 15, 1 plus 5 is 6. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. See, these numbers go back down into... So it's the second gate into the higher dimensions. But it's also the gate into the lowers through 5. That's why 5 is the collapse point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, collapse. New 5. So 6 is the next, it's the transformation. Because 6 plus 6, 1 is 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. Get you back to this lowest that is creation. So it is the soul. Souls come through the 9th gate. That's why they say you're a 9 ether being. You're a 9 ether being because through the 9th gate is what allows the higher realms to descend down into the lower realms through the 6th ether. But once you get through 6, you're not into 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. 14. 1 plus 4 is back to getting you back down. So what's 8? 8. 8 plus 8, 16. 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. That's God. Now you're at God. That's why God is at 7. Right? Now 9. That's the feminine. So it's a dance. It goes the cycle. The masculine half, the feminine half. The masculine half, the feminine half. But then you must round it back up in the new beginning to complete. But that makes your double helix DNA structure. So it starts with the feminine. But what happens is, if the masculine, that is the will that is birth, which is the masculine, whatever masculine she gives birth to, if it does not expand upon her, he seals her in her tomb, because she can then not be anything more. She will cycle back into herself over and over again. So it's up to the masculine half, the masculine she finds or she gives birth to from her will. That masculine must be expansive. It must be the one to see the separation. So there is no infinite. He's the one that needs to add the next, because he's the builder upon the land, right? That's why. So, thank you. I hope you was paying attention. I just broke down the feminine, but I get you. Now, here's another way to look at it, because there's no infinite truth. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. All we are doing is remembering what we are. What we are. Okay? So, meditate on this wonderful Saturday, or whenever you hear me, whenever I'm coming through on your black box portal mirror. Take this time to now go meditate. But I appreciate you tuning in to the lesson. Appreciate you. There's gonna be rebuttal after this. It's gonna be one more, so stick around for that too. But if you don't, hey, you made it this far. So, peace to the Ashe.